My fifth point, a woman's wisdom for the future. Now, hopefully you've gotten almost all of my eggs, which is good. My dear, sweet, sweet husband supports me in ways probably beyond what he should. I was trying to make fortune cookies. I have a little dog. He has rawhides for weeks now, let's just say. And I'm pretty sure the paper inside dissolved, gone. They are hard and black and not a fortune cookie. I don't even know what shape you would call it. A mess, just a mess. But he, bless his heart, he tried. Okay, just didn't work. But you see, to me, I love fortune cookies because I feel like the Bible has an entire book of fortune cookies, and it's called Proverbs. The Proverbs are full of really cool, practical bits of wisdom on all kinds of stuff. So I printed them again so they wouldn't be soggy from the rawhide chew. And I put them in Easter eggs, which I felt was so fitting for Holy Week. So hopefully you will enjoy reading and sharing your proverb, your fortune cookie from God. But I know it's not really exciting, but you would like these. You're gonna like these way better than those rawhide fortune cookie. Then I might work for a doorstop, I guess. Time, the concept, is a human constraint. Everything we do revolves around time. The farthest I ever get from being cognizant of time is when I'm off from school and forget what day it is. I live in a house with my husband who's retired, and my father-in-law lives across the ridge, so he's over there a lot. He's also retired. You know what the statistical probability is that on any given day you can ask us what day it is and we have any idea? Slim to none. Slim to none. Which is great. It's very freeing. However, let's think about time. Time is something that is important because without it, you think we make mistakes now, it would get much worse, right? You would miss appointments, meals, your job, work, church service, birthdays, anniversaries, and even this presentation this afternoon. So I'm really happy about time. I'm really glad we have it for the moment. It was important in the Old Testament when Jesus walked the earth. The Jewish nation used it to mark their celebrations and the times to offer sacrifices. So I'm not saying that it's all bad. I'm simply saying that it might be worth imagining a time without, well, time. What if there were no time? What would you do differently?
Sleep.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Some things that I did consider after I went past the sleep. But what about not having to rush anywhere? You're never late. You don't have to rush and do anything. If you need to get to the store, and we all know what time here in town, 9 o'clock, right? We don't have to worry about that anymore. They're not going to be closed. There's no time. What about your visit with your friends? Your friends that you only get to see like once a year, right? Stay as long as you want. It's all good. Visit endlessly. How about the dessert? Wait till you see the size of cake this lady's eating. I love it. Oh yeah. And it's obvious her intention is the entire cake, right? Good for her. And then she needs to take a nap. Definitely. Bring out that hymn you love and belt it at the top of your lungs endlessly. How about that gift you know that's coming for your birthday and you're waiting for your birthday? What are you waiting for? A birthday? There is no time now. Go ahead. Go ahead. Have at it. Open it right now. What does that sound like? Does it sound just a little bit like heaven? I hope so. You see, time is a human device, a human constraint. We humans came up with a 24-hour day, the calendar, a 365 days a year, and it's not even right. There's technically 365 and a quarter days in a full revolution around the sun. So every day, the sun rises and falls at different times. And we said, oh no, we're going to make it fit a 24-hour segment. We're going to make the year fit 365 days, so then every leap year we have to make up for that error. Am I saying we need to abandon time, dates, years? Oh goodness, no. No. But I am saying, so often we plead God for a blessing of healing and long life. More time for our loved one to be here with us. But to God, time is not a constraint. He doesn't even consider it. We put a scale on everything, a measurement, a clock. God, He doesn't. He's eternal. Heaven is eternal. And we have such a tiny perspective of all of that. We know only one thing, here and now. So we can't understand what lies ahead for those of us who are saved. We know it's glorious, but we don't understand how glorious. The best here is the only best that we know. So we ask Him to fix things in the here and now, or to remove it, or for a long here and now. And it isn't that He doesn't care, but think about how silly that might seem from His perspective, knowing time does not really exist. Let me walk you through an example that I really do think will help. The food here, Miss Edna, such a blessing. It's always incredible. I've even come in on Cold Sandwich Day, and it's like, wow, this place just has an umbrella of greatness over it all the time. But go way, way, way back, some of us further than others. What was your favorite baby food? You probably don't remember, but your mom might have told you. What was your favorite baby food? Let's just say it was pureed peas. Okay. You ate it and really enjoyed it, Louise. You even asked for more. Yes, you did. Yes. Why? Well, because at that point in our life, our very limited life, at that time, it was the best. The best of the best was those pureed peas. He saved a little for later on his shoulder there. Now think of life where you are today. What if Miss Edna had served us today? She said, oh guys, I got a special lunch for you. It's something that used to be one of your absolute favorites. You haven't had it in forever. I made extra helpings because I know how much you loved it. You're going to be so excited. And then she brings out a giant bowl of pureed peas. Oh boy. We likely would have not been very happy about it, right? So thank you. Why? Because now we know there's so much more that is so much better, and we're no longer held back by our little tiny experiences and have moved on to much bigger and better. This is the same when we ask God to grant our earthly wishes. He sees so much bigger and better. He knows all, and we can't even fathom it. Isaiah 55, 8 and 9 says, for my thoughts are not your thoughts. Neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts higher than your thoughts. Okay, God, you're right. You win. Hands down. He wins, as He should. Proverbs 3 through 5 says, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Okay, that part we all know. That's easy. It's the next one. Lean not on your own understanding. In all of your ways to submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight. Praise the Lord for that. So just like that whiny baby, do you sometimes get frustrated because you really want the pureed peas? Because now that's what makes you happy? Do you always get those pureed peas? No. like a good mama doesn't give her infant pureed peas every meal all the time. I'm saying our prayers and petitions are not wrong. I'm just saying they are infant prayers. They are human prayers. And from a human perspective, with humans' limited knowledge. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, where it tells us to trust God, is basically telling us that ask God for what you want, tell Him what you think you need, but sometimes He knows it's not pureed peas. We just need to trust that He sees the bigger picture and He knows what is best. Is it awkward? Yeah. Is it confusing? Oh yeah. Is it scary? Oh yeah. Yeah. But it's also the right choice. Just like the first bite that you had of solid food, it was a leap of faith and of trust that helped you grow. So, Christian words of fortune, cool stuff. I really, really like that. And for the rest of us, hopefully you'll enjoy your bit of wisdom that I've shared with you. But of all the Proverbs, there is one that stood out. And in order to do it, we would have had to have an egg ginormous. Is that even a word? I don't know. Humongous? Because it's actually an entire chapter. And that is Proverbs 31. Proverbs 31 is the only prayer in all of Proverbs. Take a second, let that sink in. The only prayer in all the Proverbs. It is the last chapter of Proverbs. And here's the best part. It was written by a mom to her son. Now, I do not think that's coincidence. Because throughout the Bible, God gives us these little twinkles and hints to our importance as women. And this is one of them. It's a lot of twinkling. It's a whole chapter. See, I remember when we were first expecting our first child, and I was writing in his baby book, there was a page where you were supposed to write down your hopes and dreams for your child. And so I thought about it. I prayed over it for several days. I went all the way from being a doctor, changing the world, to this. Dear son, I hope that you love the Lord and follow Him, and that you have some kind of a job to pay the bills for you and your family. I don't care if that job is working at a gas station, as long as you work and are happy. Oh, okay. That's a low bar. What? Well, let's fast forward to 1995, from 1995, when I wrote that, to 2020. Our son is now 24 years old, nearly out of college and newly married. I was on a trip and was looking through some stuff in a local bookstore because I am such a bibliophile. And I came across a book of letters that you could write in to your son. I thought, oh man, I have to get this. Because how great is that? This way, when I'm gone, he can open these one at a time and do exactly what I told him to do. Can I just tell you, I told him about the book. I don't think he wants it. Who am I kidding? Who am I kidding? Not a single page of my book to my son could honestly hold a candle to that prayer that King Lemuel's mother gave to him. It is in Proverbs, and the really cool thing about this is Proverbs begins with a command to fear the Lord and ends with, and to follow His commands, and it ends with this mother's prayer, which is for a woman, a wife, for his son who does just that. Chapter 31 is the one poem that every mother should aspire to write. Verse 1 through 9 focus on her son as a king avoiding alcohol, caring for the poor, and being fair. Verse 10 through 31 is an acrostic, which means every verse from 10 to 31 starts with the next Hebrew letter in order. Talk about a mama who upped it a notch. She sure did. She brought her A game. Let's look at just the last 3 verses. This is 31, 29 to 31. Many women do noble things, but you surpass them all. Charm is deceptive. Beauty is fleeting. But a woman who fears the Lord is to be praised. Give her the reward she has earned, and let her works bring her praise at the city gate. Wowza. We should aspire to be that fabulous. Peace out. There you go. Number 7, correct directions are important. Directions. We all need them from time to time. Some of us need them all the time. My husband would say, how do you not know you've done? Just tell me. Right? But let's look at how different these directions can be. For example, are you ready? This is a man's directions to a store. Go northeast 1.5 miles, then turn southeast and go 2 traffic lights, and it'll be on the northwest corner. Oh, come on, y'all know we've heard this, right? Or definitely a version of it. Yeah, we're all laughing because we're like, no, dude, as soon as you said, after the word go, I'm gone, done. Yeah, I went, for sure. Here's our directions to that same store, okay? Go past, the red squiggle dude that flops in the air in front of that old shop that's down from Patty's office. Turn right at the corner where that dude is that's always selling the flowers on the holidays and weekends. Yeah, and stuff, And then it's just a little ways up on your right, directly across the street from that bougie resale shop with the adorable pink sign outside. It just finally opened up. Finally. Come on, you remembered half of that. And that's how we do things. That is how we do things. So what is my point? Which is more, okay, I hate to have to say this, but which is easier to remember? We'll go ahead and call it, right? He's outvoted anyway. The female's direction. I got that. I know the squiggle dude. Y'all saw one in your head when I said that. And the dude selling the flowers and the new bougie shop that just finally, yeah. But whose is more precise? Dang it. Whose directions are more enduring?
His.
Yeah, his. Because we have to give that victory to the men. That red squiggle dude, he may be taken down. The guy selling flowers may decide he's done doing it. And that resale shop that we're so excited finally opened, it may just close right back up again. But let's look at another example of enduring directions. I have a long history in teaching, and at one point I taught geography. And one of the main things they needed to learn was how to understand what coordinates were. So here's how I went about doing that with my students. I split my 5th graders into pairs. I let them find their partner, and I told them I was setting up a game. Surprise, surprise, I use a lot of games when I teach, so they were like, oh cool, what are we doing now? And I told them, of your team, one of you is the cartographer, that's a map maker, and the other one is the explorer. They were very excited, and I sent each explorer out of the room and gave each cartographer a clipboard with a plain piece of paper on it. And I said, listen guys, here's the deal. You have now been transported to an extreme remote spot in Alaska where we know there's gold. And there are 20 gold tokens around this room for you to find. Now here's the rule, because you're a cartographer, you don't want to touch them. We don't want to disturb the natural environment. But draw directions so that when you leave the room and your explorer comes in, your team will haul in the most gold. Oh, they're all about that, right? So they did it on their paper. A lot of them immediately, start drawing a rough end map, right? Jill's desk, back of the room. Doorway, up here, front of the room. Miss M's globe, over here. Miss M's desk with her Bible on it, right here. They start doing all that, right? And then they walk around the room, and they'd find the spot, and they would put a little X where it was. And, oh, they thought they were all that. And a bag of Cheetos, I'm telling you. And it was great. I was so loving it. They thought they had great directions. They were going to win. But then, I took them out of the room. I said, you cannot talk to your partner. Hand them your clipboard. And I put them in another room with another teacher. And I went back into my room. I played an actual audio track of a squall in Alaska. First you hear the howling animals because the animals know it's coming. And then you can't hear anything but the sound of ice cracking. That's so appropriate. Huge winds ripping through, trees cracking and breaking. You hear this squall. Went on for a good 10 minutes because I needed it for cover as I destroyed my classroom. Oh, yes. And after I was done doing that, I went and got them. I collected the explorers with their cartographer's map. They entered the room, and you can guess their first reaction. Absolute total shock. Miss, what happened? Jill's desk, she sits all the way back here, and it was blocking the door. We could hardly get in. I told them overnight, you heard the winter squall coming, you heard the sound coming out into the hall. It came through, and this is what it did. So you have 30 minutes, guys. You know how long 30 minutes is when you're a teacher? 30 minutes to find as many pieces of the gold as you can, but you cannot touch things because you'll start an avalanche. Find them, go. Y'all know how this went, right? Not one explorer found more than 3 or 4. Of the 20, I still had to go back and pick out like 6 or 7 of them that they couldn't find, that were in plain sight. But plain sight looked so different. What is my point? Well, we need directions that are concrete, that are not changing. Ladies, a lot of the changes that have happened to our planet were from us. Humans have done it. So, how do we do that? Well, we use a coordinate grid. The coordinate grid that's drawn over the earth, think about this, guys. It has to be drawn from a godlike perspective. There's no other way to see the whole planet. There's no other way to get it right. It's the only way that we can drill down to a precise and unchanging location. Everything else changes. The same is true with the directions that are given to us in the unerring Word of God. The Bible. And even though God's Word stands, Bibles are going to vary. Let me give you an example. If you look in your Bible when you get home today at Mark, the book of Mark, there are extra verses. Mark 16, 9 to 20 is most likely not part of the original gospel that Mark wrote. What? Yeah. It's believed that theologians added it later because they felt like it ended too abruptly. How interesting. Yet there it is. If we look at the Catholic Bible, it includes 7 books that the Protestant Bible doesn't even have. I have them now. I can't wait to read them. Because it includes the Tobit, Judith, 1st Maccabee, 2nd Maccabee, the Wisdom of Solomon, Sirach, Ecclesiasticus, and Baruch, including the letter of Jeremiah. Wow. Tell me more. and additions to Daniel and to Esther. Finally, the Jewish Tanakh, which is their Bible, as we know, is only the Old Testament. So, they can vary a lot. But my question is, as an example, I'm going to pick a book about a woman, right? I'll pick Ruth. Does it matter? No. Because we know that what God is telling us is that we are all product of a sinful world. And if we're saved, we are really trying to no longer sin. Every day, every minute. Ruth 3:15 talks about, in the King James Version, Boaz is talking to Ruth. And he says, bring the mantle you are wearing and hold it out. So she holds it out. It's kind of like a drape. And he measures out 6 measures of barley, lays it on there, and she went into the city. Literally, word for word. And she went into the city. But the New Revised Standard Version, Boaz says to Ruth, bring the cloak you are wearing and hold it out. So she held it. He measured out 6 measures of barley, put it on her back, and he went to the city. Okay, who went to town? Was it him or was it her? I want to know who had to make that walk with that heavy barley. I want to know, was it in an apron here in the front, or did he help her get it tied to her back? Come on, these details are important to me. But let's look at one more. Look at the most popular version of the Bible. Do you guys know which one it is? The King James. Outsells the others almost tenfold. It's like 67, 78%, something crazy like that. To do that, we need to go back and say, well, where did this really come from? Well, the King James Bible came from, you can fill this in, right? King James, right? King James the First was coronated, and he wanted to solidify his power and eliminate all the fighting that had been going on between Anglicanism and Puritanism. And so he said, wait a minute, you know what? The one book a lot of these people have is the Geneva Bible. And the Geneva Bible has some passages in it that are kind of hostile towards me as the divine king. Let's get rid of them. So he used between 50 and 60 scholars and theologians organized into 6 different committees who used the original Greek and Hebrew manuscripts and earlier translations of the Bible, like William Tyndale's, and it had a 3-fold goal. So if you all were sitting on those committees, you have 3 things you know you have to do. The first one, make the king happy, right? We know what happens if you don't. So make the king happy. Second one, be accurate. And third, design it to be read aloud, which results in the King James Version of the Bible with all the these and thous and thus and here tos and all that. It's meant to make it poetic, melodic, dignified prose, if you will. So the King James Version was finished and printed. It was also printed again in 1769 off the original 1611 edition. And it was ordered to be distributed to giving readers a vision of the Bible that agreed with the British law and the rule of the king. They also used that reprinting as a chance to address some of the mistakes they found out that they made, which I definitely want to get them fixed too, right? And so one of those was Ruth. And here's what you want to know, right? Well, come on, tell us. Which did the King James Version end up with? She. They ended up with the she. She carried them to the city. So, this is really cool because the King James Bible is commonly known around the world as the She Bible.